I'm back. It's been about 2 weeks. I'm not sure anybody noticed really, but it's just on a little hiatus for the holidays, I guess you could say. It's just tough to get in recording time all the time. But today we're going to talk about the idea of less being more. I had a conversation with somebody about the existence of God, and they continued to argue that it was faith based, and that no matter what you did, you could not know or prove that God existed. And my argument was that that is ridiculous because if you just look around you and you really understand what it took for everything to get where it is and how much of it was conscious effort, like the house I'm living in, somebody like all of these different, like my AC, my fridge, my stove, I've got like colognes over there and stuff. It's like all of these things were intricately designed by somebody else, and they ended up here somehow. And it's like everything from the sidewalk to the road to my car, literally everything. You could look around and you can see man made things everywhere. And then what's not man made is made from nature. And it's like if you just really look around and just take a second to evaluate the complexity of everything that exists and the odds of it actually existing where it does, it's like that's proof of God, you know? Even just the fact that like we're just hurtling through space and haven't ran into another star or another planet or gotten thrown off course. Or another thing I think about all the time is like I don't know, like how the earth doesn't, I remember reading a statistic that said the earth drifts like a few inches further away from the sun every year because we're spinning around it, but only by a force of gravity, you know? And so, I mean, eventually, since we're going further away currently instead of closer, there's really only two options, which is, that we start rotating closer and closer and we get sucked into the gravity well and we burn up, or that we eventually go further and further and further and we get flung off into space. But it's like the odds that we were able to exist right here in the few billion years before Earth was created and then before it got flung off into space. It's like there's so many giant universal factors that are at play. It's a miracle that we even exist at all. And so it's like that revelation comes through view of simplicity and of a lack of questioning. Because I felt like he kept trying to ask for proof and evidence. And he's like, none of that is concrete proof. And it's like, you're looking for evidence in the evidence. You know what I mean? Like you just not taking it for face value because it's not what you expected God to be. Because I think a lot of times, especially in today's world, people have an idea of God that's like an outside entity that exists, like it's very like fictional, it's like he floats above earth and he like, moves things around so that you never get too hurt, but you also become the person he wants you to become. It's like it's not really that simple, you know? Or it's not really that complex, it's more simple than that, you know? It's just that nothing is working against you in this world. It's not like he created a chaotic world and then put non-chaotic humans in it and he's going to help them find their way through the path of chaos. No, it's like he created a beautiful world and we are a part of that. And that's it, and it's that simple, and there's nothing too bad that will ever happen to you, you know, because in the end you'll die, you know. So in the end, all of that pain, and even all the memories of the pain, will all fade away. And so, it's like, what do you really have to, like, fear, you know? Except for yourself, except for what comes about of the human mind, you know, these games we make up to make ourselves feel important. But the truth is that you can only understand importance when you realize that ultimately you're not important, right? Because over a long enough period of time, nobody will remember your name or your face or your voice. You know what I mean? There will be nothing of you left. Even this podcast will one day fade into existence, probably with the rest of humanity. You know, even humanity's going to end. I remember having another discussion with somebody who thought that it would be a good idea to be immortal. Like, they got the choice of being. It was like a philosophical question. Like, would you be immortal if you had the chance? And really, immortality is just the worst form of prison. It's the most inhumane torture you could ever administer. Because we have really small minds. Like, we just can't, we don't think far enough ahead. And so their argument was like, oh, I get to see where the human race goes. And it's like, okay, and then what after that, you know? Because it's like, the human race is going to die out. The sun's going to solar flare. A comet's going to come through. Global warming. Aliens. Like, we're not going to live everything out. And even if we expand to other planets, it's like eventually those planets will die out. Eventually, you know what I mean? Like, shit just happens, bro. Shit happens and species die out, and we're not special as much as we want to be special. But life goes on too. So it's like, you'll see humanity die out and you'll see a new humanity rise up. And you'll just see that over and over and over again. And, you know, it will just be pain for most of it until you become desensitized to it. And I always like questioned this, like, this idea of immortality. Like, would it lead to Buddhism? Like, the idea, like I'm really just the observer here. Like, I have no other option. Like, there's no hope. I should just give up and just live happily where I can and be sad where I can and do what I can where I can. Or would it result in mania? Would it result in, like, oh my God, I'm going to live forever, and, like, everything, like, you know, isolation, like, just never wanting to deal with any of that continuous cycle, you know? But there's really no way of telling unless, you know, someone becomes immortal, because it's just unfathomable. Forever is unfathomable, like, realistically. So, but yeah, back on the topic of less is more. I think this applies to everything. I mean, I've said it before, my favorite verse in the Tao Te Ching is verse 43. Hold on, I can recite this by memory. I got this. It is the most yielding thing in the world will overcome the most rigid. The most empty thing in the world will overcome the most full. From this comes a lesson. Stillness benefits more than action. Silence benefits more than words. Rare indeed are those who are still. Rare indeed are those who are silent. And so I say, rare indeed are those who obtain the bounty of this world. And that follows along the lines of less is more very well, because less has always been more, you know, because it's like, in every instance, like, I'm thinking of instances, and it's like, I could name any single one of them. Like currency, right? You want more currency, right? Like, just money in general. But you only want more if there isn't a lot of it in circulation, right? Because if you get more, but then more gets put in circulation, what you have is worth less. Now, if you have more and there's less in circulation, yours is worth more because there's less. It's like the lesser there are of anything, the more valuable it is, oddly enough. And so that's where there's another quote. I don't know if it's a Bible quote, I just heard it somewhere. It said, man can know heaven without ever leaving his room. And that's so true. And it's like, I think that's the problem of the modern man and the Western mind, is that we want to find everything outside of ourselves, and we want to have, like, this is hard to explain, but it's trying to wag the dog by the tail, it's backwards in a way that's like really forcing it. And if you just kind of eased up, you'd be okay. Because we always look for things like in front of us, outside of us, ahead of us. We have goals and ambitions and like, a goal is a good example, right? It's not that I don't believe in goals, but I just don't believe in them as like a reoccurring, like, I don't think you should always think about them. I think that you should find a goal and then build your creeds around that goal. So my goal, for example, right? To be a good father, to be a good husband, to be a good fighter, an athlete, to do the best I can in the gym and push my body to its limit while it's an available option to me. Same thing with my mind. I want to learn and become more intelligent and just venture into there's like I want to write and I want to eventually learn how to play instruments and stuff like that. Like, there's things I want to do, but I shouldn't make those my goals right now, because I'm not in the position to do most of them or all of them. For me, it's all I want to do all of them. It's not like I can't have a goal of like I want to see what this world is about. I can't have a goal that's like really simple, like being a good father, right? That's like a simple goal in the sense that it's just one thing. It's very hard, for sure. Absolutely, it's very hard. But like, if I wanted to be a good father and nothing else, well, no, okay, father's probably the only one that's a bad example. But let's say I wanted to be a good boxer, right? A good athlete. I could just train boxing every day, and that's it. Like, I could just box 5 times a day, and that would be my life. And I'd be a great boxer. But that'd be it. So it's like, it's important to, it's because I have a limited amount of time. And right now, I'm 19. So the period, 19 to 30 is when I need to set everything. I need to set up all of my long-term investments, we'll say. And I mean that throughout, not just financially, but in every other aspect of life. You invest yourself in things with hopes of a return, like relationships and jobs and skills even. Like, boxing is a skill that I'm investing in, right? And I don't even know where I'm going with this. Hold on. I lost my train of thought here. Okay, the goals. So you create all of these goals, and then you align yourself to creeds that will bring about these goals. And so let's say your goal is to be a good father, right? This is actually a good goal because it encompasses other goals. So I take back what I said earlier. But so you say your goal is to become a good father. What does this mean? So you're going to have to learn how to become both kind and caring and, empathetic for the emotional side of humanity in case you have a daughter. And then you're going to also have to become strong and willing and capable and a hard worker in case you have a son, because I believe in, the two roles. I think that if you raise them opposite, I think that your child will feel very out of place. You know, I think because it's like a boy, if you make a boy emotional, he becomes useless, you know, because it ties him up. Because when the logical mind starts getting emotional, it's like paralyzing. But that's out of, we'll talk about that another day. But back to my point of like less is more and these goals is that like when you have one big goal and then you attach these creeds to your being, right? So I have to be strong and capable and caring and a hard worker, and I have to do this and I have to do this and I have to do this. It's like you can throw away the goal because the goal will only come about through the like through the through the commitment to these creeds, right? Like the goal doesn't really matter. No matter how much I want to bench 315, it won't matter unless I put the work in. So why? So I should just shut the fuck up about benching 315. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is like actions over words. You know, this is that simplicity that you need to add to get to that extra level, in my opinion. And Sam Sulek actually has a great quote on this. He says, the man who loves walking will walk further than the man who loves the destination. And this is exactly that. It's like, stop doing it for why you want to do it. Understand why you need to do it, right? Because it's like, why do you want to be a good father, right? Because what the hell else are you going to do with your life? You know, it's like if you're not a good parent, you're going to die out and you're going to be forgotten. No one will carry on your last name. No one will carry on your memories or your joy or your, you know, all of the attributes that you have will die out like that, you know? And so it's like, if you don't, I think like our generation too, especially my generation, has a very big idea. I think it's very popular for people to not want kids, which is so crazy to me. It's like you say that until you're like 40, you know, and all of a sudden going out every single night and going on trips isn't as fun as doing that with your family, you know, and having holidays with your family and shit like that. And it's just like, it's not even that. It's just having a legacy is the most important thing a human being can do. You know, it's how we survive. It's how we live through time. And it's not just about survival. It's like, if you have something good about you and you don't pass that goodness on through humanity, that's like a sin. You know what I mean? Because it's like you were blessed with the ability to be good and you're just going to take that away from the entire world because you're not willing to take care of a miniature you. You know, that it also says a lot about people too. It's like, kid, like you don't want to take care of a child. Can you even take care of yourself? You know? And so, again, back to this less is more. Just break everything down. Break everything down to its simplest parts. And then decide, is this good for me? Yes or no? Does this get me to where I want to go? Yes or no? You know? I don't know where I heard this from, but someone said, like, if you really wanted to learn how to ride a bike, you would stop giving a fuck about everything else that doesn't help you learn how to ride the bike. And I like that because it's like your level of simplicity and your ability to dictate, okay, is this beneficial for me and my goal or not, will mirror how much you really want it and how much you really desire what you say you desire. Because a lot of people say they want things, and a lot of people want, you know, a lot of people want a good physique, but it is so incredibly hard to achieve, you know? And even at the higher levels, I see this a lot at my age too, is a lot of kids my age, like 19, 20, we've been lifting for 3 or 4 years now. They have just they do the same thing every day, all the time. And it's like maintenance, and it's like you're just maintaining, like you just shed your fat. And now, like, you know, it's not, you don't look bad, but it's like you could go way better if you bulked and cut and, you know, you follow the correct process of creeds and of habitable actions, which is really what creeds are. It's like, what will you do, defend, and speak on habitually. Fuck, what was I saying? All right. My friend called. I don't remember what I was saying. But I think I was talking about habitable actions. Simplifying things. Something about a bike and training wheels. I don't know. But I'm going to end it here soon. I just wanted to put this reflection out there, and a reminder. Because I think that it's really easy to complicate things in your life. It's really easy to start complicating things. And you just kind of you don't notice that you've done it until you're kind of real deep into it. So, I hope this was beneficial. I hope some of you heard this and thought, I've really been complexifying my entire life. And it could be much more simple and better and peaceful. And, back to the goals, though. Do away with your goals as far as, it's like when you're hiking a mountain. You don't really, keep looking at the peak, unless you've hiked, once or twice in your whole life. Then you'd be like, oh, my God, I can't wait to get up there, right? But if you're a seasoned veteran, you know what you're doing. You're on the path, which is actually more beautiful than the peak could ever be from the path. That's another thing I noticed is, that analogy is perfect, actually, because so many people want to get to the summit, to the peak, and it's like it was never about that. You get there and you sit there and you know what I mean? It's like you passed so many flowers on the way and animals and, trees. Like there's just so many things you miss on the way when you're so goal orientated. And I will say you won't get there as quickly, but it will be worth it. Because getting there faster doesn't mean anything. Because the destination. And another thing is when you do away with your goals, we'll say, and you put creeds in place of them that will get you to where you want to be, those creeds kind of become your goals, right? So it's like if you have really, the father one, right? That's really got to put a lot of time into that. And so it's like your goals become being a good man and being a strong father, and your goals become just going to the gym every single day. That becomes a goal of yours, because it's like if you have a son, you want him to see that, You want him to see oh, Dad was tired today, but he didn't rest. Dad got up and went to the gym, It's like even if you went there and you hit fucking 2 machines, 3 machines, sometimes it's about the image that you have and the image that you create, It's not always about how you feel in the moment. So there are some things worth doing that don't seem like they're worth doing, Because, maybe rest builds your muscles a little more, right? Maybe looking at the peak is going to get you there faster, but it's like you're missing out on so much. And it's hard because you can't, people here, people here to get you there faster, and it's all they care about, and it's like, oh, you're going to learn the hard way. You're going to learn the hard way. So, that's all I got for you today. I will be back. I'll be making up for the 2 weeks I missed. Hopefully this Friday being the 5th. Yeah. Hopefully by the 5th I'll have 3 episodes ready for y'all. So, keep shit simple and win.